call meeting to order. Anybody have any additions to the agenda?
Yeah,
Go ahead there, Dan.
unfortunately. Two quick items. Number one, just your comments on, and it's not really your jurisdiction, that's why we have a zoning board meeting, but comments on, a discussion on wind farm setbacks. Okay, just to keep abreast of what's going on there, if you read it in the paper. And the other item I would have is legislative update, make it that, and this House Bill 1382, which increases the gas tax by 3 cents, just a little discussion on that.
Okay, so wind farm info and legislative update.
House Bill 1382.
And then also, Chris will not be here. He was scheduled to be here at 9:30, but don't get anxious about the extra 15 minutes. Jonathan Cooch of the Pheasant Park Board will be here at that time. So,
At what, where Chris was supposed
we're
to be?
gonna slide him in right where Chris is gonna be.
What's the guy's name?
Jonathan Cooch, and it's spelled like couch. C-O-U-C-H. He must have talked to you. Or Joe Stevens said he spoke to you, so, okay, I don't know.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Hey, where did you find this basket?
Right beside Dan, behind Dan.
Okay.
Thank you. Then one other thing, can we talk about liability insurance a little bit? I don't know.
For the county?
County liability, I don't know if it's much to talk about, but there was a thing in the Foster County paper about it and discuss it a little. So.
County liability. Okay, so I got three additions, wind farm deal, legislative update, and county liability. Anything else?
And Jonathan Cooch.
Yeah.
I put him up there.
I put him in where I
Okay.
include the list. Anything else? Well, that gives us a full slate then finally. Okay, regular meeting minutes from our last meeting, March meeting. Any questions?
Is this an agenda item?
What is it?
Holy ghost.
No, Dan, are those the past?
No, those are, you requested feedback from them. That
Yeah.
file is the feedback that I got from them.
Okay,
Oh,
yeah.
so hopefully we'll get 36 of them, right?
No, you will not.
You wanna do that
I'm
somewhere
just
on the
kidding.
agenda here and discuss those?
We certainly can when Brent is here.
Okay. Well, you can pass that, I'll hang on to the rest till we get to that. Okay. Minutes.
Motion on the minutes?
Yes,
I'll make a motion on the last month's minutes.
to approve last month's
Yeah.
minutes, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, motion made by Blue and second by Brian Miller. All those in favor say aye.
Alright.
Opposed, motion carried. All right. Minutes is taken care of. Time sheets review. Dan, anything we look at?
Dan, anything on the ordinary?
No, all good. They're there. You can pass them around.
Well, you think they're all up to date, that's all I need. And then we're on to the bills.
No, it didn't look like anything out of the ordinary. I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay. Motion made by Stan to approve the bills, is there a second?
Yeah.
Second by Brownlow. Any discussion on it?
Yeah, I do have a quick question. What's the power plan for 8,700 under highway tax? Under machinery repairs and supplies?
That, is that the, that John Deere tractor and loader that we
Oh, okay.
It's been on there a few times.
Right. Okay.
That's the lease on that tractor, right?
did? I think it is.
Yes.
Okay.
I think that finally showed up yesterday. That tractor.
Boy, if it wasn't for technology, we'd have to sit for.
That never quit.
I mean, it's, look, there it is.
Any other discussion on the bills? Hearing no other discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Alright,
Opposed, motion carried. Balance sheet.
All right, as far as the,
It's not the least, it's cutting edges.
oh, it is,
It's just a bunch of cutting
oh, it's cutting edges, I'm sorry.
oh, okay.
So what deal, where is that? Is that John Deere, the power plant? Or-
I think so, but it could be a,
It's from John Deere,
yeah.
Okay.
but instead of just John Deere charging us, it's always comes through power plant,
Yeah.
like a, kind of like a.
Probably
Sounds like a
nationwide
A
organization.
silly question, but are the same cutting edges, are they the same for both? Or are there John Deere cutting edges and Cat cutting edges? I think they'd be the same,
Oh, I think they're uniform.
right, doesn't matter.
I would check with Brett.
Right, as far as the balance sheet goes, you have that in front of you, just a handful of things that I want to highlight on here. The stuff at the top obviously is, you know, there are some things interspersed in there, but the stuff at the bottom is all of your political subdivisions, so you pretty much see the balance going or being paid out on most of those. So the only thing is any collections that have come since they were paid out, you'd see in that far right-hand column that's a balance. And the next payment to everybody except for school districts is in July. So, and as far as the townships go, that's when they will receive their prairie dog funds along with their regular payments. Those will come in July. And every one of the 36 townships has been apprised of that. They all know that. If they don't know it, then they don't read their text messages. Up at the top, capital projects, you'll see $250,000 in there. That is something new this year. Again, I'm just reminding you, I know you know this. That, along with subsequent collections, will be used to help us match grants, whether it's bridge funding or replacement or whatever the case may be. So that money is earmarked for those grant matches. You can see that our House Bill 1066 money came just very recently. I was personally, you know, you're never disappointed when you get almost $1.9 million handed to you, but it's less than last year.
It was less, I told Doc that yesterday.
It is about 75,000, it's more than $75,000 less, and I do not understand that.
I think I can add to that, is that they added 5 counties. This used to go to non-oil producing counties. They added 5 oil producing counties to non-oil producing counties, so now that pool is bigger. However, they added more to the prairie dog fund to compensate for that. Apparently it wasn't enough. That's why it's less.
Okay, but yeah, it's
5 different counties.
Instead of,
Yeah, right, that's what I mean.
they changed the formula
And they
as
spread it out
to if
further.
you produce less than 10 million barrels a year, you're now a non-producing oil county. So there's more of them. So that got divvied up. But they added, I want to say $50 million, quite a bit, to the prairie dog fund. Because of that, wasn't enough.
But you take 5 counties divvying up with what we already had, that's why the shortfall is.
Yes.
Right.
And it's not just us, you know, townships got a little bit less, but yeah, it's more than 75,000 for us. But that fund, right now, and obviously it's dependent upon production based on the value of oil and so on, is putting $80 million a month into that. And we still got 4 months to go in this biennium. So they can fix it if they wanted to within this biennium, but they won't. They'll just move all that money to the SIF fund and
Yeah, where's that money go, the extra?
it goes to the SIF fund, which is infrastructure for the state.
Okay.
All right, so you see that money there, and that money is split. It's not split 50-50. $1 million of that is in a CD, and $933,000 is in our money market account. And the first portion of that obviously is for the Hamburg Slough project. General fund, you'll see right now at $5.611 million. 911, and I want you to keep this in the back of your mind. It's currently sitting in the negative, and there is no method to avoid that. Okay, we are maxed out. That is paid for on people's taxes on their phone line, whether it's a landline, cell line, whatever the case is, and it is not enough to pay for the service. But like most taxes in North Dakota, those states never met one of those that they like, so, okay, I'll be thrilled if this gas tax gets through before the session's over. But that said, there is no way to address that. We're just gonna have to deal with it. If it comes out of the general fund at the end of the year, that's, I guess, where it comes from. Road fund, obviously, you got your 3 right in a row there. Skipping over COVID relief, which is no longer a thing. Basically, we're at negative $615,000. We are slowing that. We're not gonna make it disappear in a couple of months, but eventually we'll put the $134,900 that comes from the townships will go into those funds to help offset that. That will get you down to 475 or 480,000 in the hole. Okay. County emergency, still very healthy along with jail and transportation. We're not collecting what we're spending, but that is by design because they're sitting on, $300+ thousand in both of those accounts. So jail and transportation, I think this month had $6,000 in expenses, and if you extrapolate that out over the course of the year, that's in excess of 70,000, and I think we collected 40 in that area. So basically, for at least the near future, the next couple of years, we'll be able to continue to collect less than we, spend on that, but
Unless we gotta house a bunch of people in rugby.
all of a sudden, out of nowhere, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay?
And that could pop up anytime, you never know about that.
Well,
Or there could be no one. It's not a consistent bill.
the other one that is in the negative, and you need to, I'm not gonna say you need to quote unquote pay attention to this, but I just want you to look at the county agent, and it's $9,100 in the red right now. That's not going to come back, because there too is another area where we spend more than we collect in that particular department. And this is where you balance the combination of what's its value, what's its cost. And I don't think anybody is looking at that going, oh, that's a, holy cow, we gotta fix that. And just so you know, and I'm sure you do, because I think his picture was in the last newspaper, they have hired somebody.
So being we didn't have one for quite a while,
3 months.
wouldn't have that helped this?
It might help slow it, but it's not gonna make it go away. It's been negative more than this in the past.
That's just the way it
So-
is.
So, and remember, you pay basically half of the cost of the agent. You don't pay for any other benefits, you just pay half of the salary, and then you pay for the assistant and the other costs of the office. So we do have a new county agent that'll be coming on board. I believe he begins on the 1st of May. And then the only reason that I highlighted SAFE and Savin there is because SAFE, you're gonna notice a little thing later in your packet, and we'll get to it, it's on the agenda. SAFE has closed its doors in Devils Lake. And right now that is funded primarily through imposed penalties by the judge, and then various political subdivisions contribute to that. Now, they have closed their doors, so the reason it's on your agenda later, and you're not gonna do it today, but eventually you're going to pick a new destination for
Right.
those funds. That's in Century Code, that it's your duty to see that those funds go to some organization like that.
That's a sad deal. Why'd they close? Was it financial reasons or?
I'm sure it's a combination of financial reasons, but also the inability to
Hire people, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Main trouble.
and that stands for safe, or, it's abused families is the last part of it. And that's why it's court fees that pay for that domestic
Right.
violence.
A few years ago, I don't
circumstances.
know, you guys, the lady that ran that was here at.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And then Savin is victim identification notices, so if somebody gets out of jail or whatever, the job of this organization is to inform those people that could be troubled by those circumstances, so. All right, and then as mentioned, the rest of those things down there are just payouts to all those various political subdivisions. Do you have any questions on anything related to the balance sheet?
The mobile home, what is that about?
Mobile homes are categorized different than permanent structures when it comes to their taxes being paid. They're on a completely different time scale,
Okay.
and the money goes into there, and so it's similar to property taxes, but it's for mobile homes.
You could ask Jana that question if she comes down.
I-
She always has kind of
In fact,
a, not a nightmare, but it's,
I think on the proposals for the property tax relief and stuff, there was a category for mobile homes in there, right?
I do not understand why they're categorically different, because the math is the same.
I don't know.
Doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but. Okay, any other questions on anything related to this sheet? If not, I guess you guys have a habit of approving the balance sheet, so.
Somebody want to make a motion to
So
approve?
moved.
Right, well,
All second.
and Boone second, any discussion? Any further discussion on it? If hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Alright,
Opposed, motion carried. Bank. This-
Then, we can take a look at these, there's a sheet of the CDs, and then, of course, we've added the money market account to that. So in CDs right now, we have $3.263 million, and in the money market account, we have $3.222 million, for a grand total of $6.486. And again, the money market we have, because of the flexibility it provides, you can make up to 6 transactions a month, and we should never have more than 2, which one would be a deposit, one would be a withdrawal. And as, for example, when the Hamburg Slough project goes on and we have to pay for that type of stuff, that'll come out of money market, which is dollars that we received through House Bill 1066. They're just currently sitting in that money market, gaining some interest. And
Till we need it.
yep, and that's in excess of $6,000 a month just by having that account right now.
does that money market rate fluctuate daily?
Yes and no, it has the capacity to fluctuate that frequently, but it doesn't.
Okay.
It's been 3.501%, I think, since we opened it, and so
Oh.
that's still there.
Because T-bills have gone down quite a bit in the last 3-4 days, so I was just curious if that
And it likely will, but,
But then so with CDs.
so anyway, that is a look at that, and if you flip over to the next page, there you have funds, those dollars are right off that legal size page that you have there, giving you a total there, and if you take out the money market and the CDs, it leaves you $445,000, but obviously, all that money that's in the money market is accessible, so it looks like a mere pittance there that would get you through a month and a half, but it's obviously it's not, it's way more than that, so. Do you have questions on either of these sheets?
That's good management of the money, though, that's.
Yes, it makes some money.
Well, it's there for these projects, I mean, we can run discussion.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean,
The
that's
money
the
market
idea.
thing's a good deal, I think.
Well, but I mean, it's,
It's not as much interest, but it's available.
It's available when you need it. Because we don't know what's gonna happen in a week from now. Well, kind of.
Got some ideas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think if you pay attention, you can be surprised every single day these days.
Yeah.
Some uncertainty going on.
Yeah, the only other thing that I need here regarding this is to approve Laura and myself to purchase or cash out CDs and investments.
Yep,
I'll second.
Motion by Stan, second by Boone. Any discussion on that? Any discussion, hearing no other discussion, all those in favor say aye. Opposed, motion carried.
The next thing is pledge securities from all three of our local banks that we utilize. All of them have securities in over the amount of money that we have in our financial institutions. We don't need any kind of motion on this, but look it over, and if it's a consensus of the commission to accept those pledge securities, so be it.
They look good.
We don't need a motion on that?
No. Everybody good with what you see there?
Do they do this annually, or is this just?
They do it multiple times a year. We'd like to do it at least quarterly. And obviously it changes this time of the year just simply because we have a lot of resources in the bank. And you're always gonna have the vast majority of your resources in the bank right now.
Mhm.
As the year goes on, these pledges will back down as the accounts back down. And then they'll ramp up again next December or so.
We get them shaped sheets, and I'm on the bank board for a state. They need to add those securities as the bank balance goes up or down. Now, they generally will put more in than that's needed because they don't like putting securities in and out because there's a fee anytime you pledge securities to an entity. That's why if you'll see, I'll just make it up, if there's a $500,000 CD at First State Bank, they might have pledged $1 million, just in case Dan wants to add something there. They don't have to keep adding and subtracting and taking away, because every time they do that, there's a fee. That's why there's probably more in there than what's needed.
And then basically what they're doing is pledging to cover what is beyond FDIC's coverage at the bank.
So this pledges, is that money that's set aside for this, or?
They'll set aside a bond, for example,
Oh,
that if the bank would go bad, that money is earmarked to protect
Okay.
the county. Or any municipality. It's the city of Harvey, school districts, counties. Okay. Now, it doesn't cost them anything. They're still getting interest on those bonds, and that goes into the bank, but those are just earmarked in case the bank would, like I said.
It's like insurance.
Yes.
FDIC.
Well, and the reason is, it's because most of those entities are over the $250,000 limit. And that's just a century code rule. I mean, you don't have to do that for individuals. If you have $1 million in the bank, that's your risk. But somehow, the law is such that government
You
entities.
should have pointed at Boone when you said that.
I know that.
Who's $1 million? Right.
Flimsy a little bit.
No, who does good? What I've heard, he just has 250,000 in 4 or 5 banks.
Yeah.
Better safe that way.
He's diversified.
All right, there was no correspondence for you this month, so you got 5 minutes, you can kick around portfolios before Caitlin gets here, hopefully.
Okay, let's start with county agent tax.
Actually, Boone's on the county agent.
Oh, I'm
but we were-
sorry.
But we were
Sorry.
both at the interview.
He's supposed to start May 2nd. I
Yep.
guess. I heard, what I've seen. But he sounds like a really interesting guy.
He presented himself very well. I don't think he got too bad.
Knowledgeable
And-
and
Yes.
4-H and stuff too.
If it would come that Connie would ever quit that position, he might be able to take it on himself.
Yeah.
And then we will get that, in that balance sheet, we'll get that down. We'll get that down. But, I mean, that's cutting back
Yeah.
in the future,
Yeah.
if we want to look at it that way.
If there's a question I would have is hopefully he gets acclimated to the culture shock of living in Pheasant, North Dakota, from where he's at.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
So
right.
he's coming.
Bismarck in Florida.
He's from Florida.
Yeah, but he's been living in Bismarck, Mandan for a while.
Right, he is.
So he's already out.
Oh, I know, but I mean, it's the what ifs again.
Yeah.
I'm just
Never.
looking at
Has he got a expertise like 4-H, horticulture, animal, what is he
He's
got?
kind of been through it all.
He's been through 4-H and animals.
And he does really work on helping people transition from one generation to the next in farming communities.
I don't know.
He's got a lot there, so.
That'd be good.
I mean, he just, you know, and the fair board, they're having a meeting tonight, but things are coming along, you know, things are looking pretty good for the fair, they got a lot of things happening.
Yeah,
So, other than that, I don't.
okay, and you got any more?
No.
Brian, you got anything?
Nothing new.
Okay. Stan?
Well, Jana, other than Jana, you know, she's starting the equalization process, so hopefully she doesn't need any sheriff escorts anywhere. And, just to report on that, in case, and she's gonna be down here in a minute, that, you know, remember Spencer was gonna help her out last summer and do all that? Never worked an hour. Just, I don't know if you knew that or not. But
Spencer.
Spencer Marchand was gonna go over, you know, because he was in a Harvey.
He was gonna measure houses and stuff.
Right, there's
Help set this tax on these
All the
houses.
assessments.
Yes.
For your background information, Harvey's always had an assessor of their own, which didn't do a very good job. So what, 4 years ago, 3 years ago, they decided to hire Janet, to hire the county to do it. Well, Janet can't do the whole city, so she does sections per year, where some of this doesn't, the cards aren't updated and all that. So Spencer was gonna do the legwork as far as measuring out lots and finding lot lines and getting dimensions and some of that stuff, just to record that in his spare time. Never put it out.
And so along that line, if you're in the Harvey area, you hear a whole bunch of people complaining because their assessments went way up because they finally got updated.
Right.
She'll do what, between 10 or 20% of the city a year, I think. So we got,
And I suppose.
She was obviously in my neighborhood this year.
she was in my neighborhood last year.
Every year.
So some people are seeing it different times or different
A
years.
drastic
Well,
increase.
And some are so overdue, and then all of a sudden when they get this, it's like, whoa.
Yeah.
Right.
Really wow.
And the neighbor didn't get it maybe on the other
Exactly.
side.
So anyway, not to dwell on this, but I asked Anna now, I said, do you interested in a part-time kid or college kid to do this? She said, well, yeah, if you find the right person, yes and no. She's undecided too, because we went through all that last year, and she gave him equipment and the paperwork and all that to do it, and he turned it in now, nothing was done, so. Anyway, you can ask her questions about it.
Yeah,
Other than that,
basically, the city didn't want to be the bad guy no more, so they hired us. To a certain
Well,
point.
whoever they had couldn't even get it done.
Okay.
Whoever it was.
well, and it wasn't, first off, and now we're dwelling on it, Dan, what's the city of Harvey pay us for that? Not enough.
It's not enough, $500 or something. It's
That's
not
all.
much.
It should be way more than that.
It's-
And secondly, they always tried to hire someone part-time who really didn't know,
Didn't understand.
yeah.
There's, you know, that's a tough job she's got. There's a lot of formula crap you gotta go through to assess a place.
It might be a little bit more than that. Townships pay $400 a year, so.
The city pays more than that, but it's not enough.
It's not a whole bunch more than that.
So anyway, anything else, Stan?
No, that's
Okay,
funny.
wrap up, I have nothing except Brent will be in here and he's had a whirlwind week. We've lost employees and stuff like that, and he'll explain all that, so we'll leave it at that for now. Anything else on portfolios? If not, good morning, Caitlin.
Morning. How are you guys?
Good.
Good.
Good. Okay, well, Dan said I had 15 minutes and I just presented at one of the classrooms at the school for an hour, so I'll cut it
Oh,
short.
boy. You don't wanna know.
No, I'm not doing that.
This group's attention span is not that long.
But I did print off some pamphlets, which the printer and I were not friends, so you'll see that they're upside down. I just want to make sure you guys are all awake this morning. But this just tells you just about our office, our main office. Now, well, first of all, I'm Kayla R. I'm the administrator at Wells County District Health Unit, and also a nurse by trade. And then we are a small but mighty group. We have Larissa Hoagland, she's our other nurse there and our director of nursing. And then Verla Albrecht is our office administrator, and she'll be there 25 years this year. And then Jordan Beckley, who is our prevention coordinator, who has done wonders with our grant work. And then Brenda Klein, and she is over by Sykeston area, and she's our billing specialist. Yeah.
Or
so-
what?
Billing specialist, so we do all of our billing. And then she's also a CPA by trade, so she's helped us a lot with like Excel spreadsheets and all the math stuff. So this is just kind of like a general breakdown of what we do in our office. I can go into more detail if you guys have questions, but I figured I would just go over what we're kind of focusing on right now and what we're doing. The biggest things that we're doing right now is Jordan has been in the school teaching a vaping curriculum. She has been in the Harvey school for, she's been there maybe 5-6 years now doing curriculum of vaping and then also alcohol prevention. And she does the 7th and 8th grade there and has had great uptake. We presented to the president of school. They thought it's been a great thing. We just haven't been brought in. We've had a lot of parents that want us to come in, but I know there's been a lot of turnover with administrative too, so that's also hard explaining all of our programs. So Jordan has been doing wonders, works with that, and then I'm sure you guys have heard that some of the federal cuts, we were not affected. We did get an email saying that we were going to get rid of our state opioid, our state abuse prevention grant was going to be get rid of, which is a lot of what Jordan's is paid for, and that was just an email saying that was just cut effective immediately. And then we got an email the previous day saying it was just the state that got $200,000 because it was the opioid part of COVID. So now the state has made up that, and we won't be getting it.
Oh, that's really good.
No